And here we are. Okay.
Nothing changed.
Well, it changed for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So what changed is that here's our pattern of what we're doing here, and Maggie and I are doing this, and we should thank Maggie for kind of taking on the task of recording some meetings, because I'll tell you, it's a little pressure, isn't it, Maggie? I mean, you want to do it right, so it takes, you're muted right now, so I can't hear you. But it takes a little effort to get this done, and it's easy to get confused. It's really easy because it's kind of like juggling. Isn't it like juggling? It's one you have to constantly work back and forth and juggling. But anyway, what we're looking at here is we're actually looking at my Chromebook. Okay, this is my Chromebook, but I'm actually doing my Jitsi session from my Windows PC. So how am I doing that? Well, the easy answer is it's magic. You know, if I tell you, I'll have to kill you. One of those things. But that's not how it really is. I'm using a program built into Chrome called um, Chrome Remote, or your Chrome Remote Control. So what I'm doing is I am connecting, and don't forget this is all going to be recorded too. It's being recorded right now. I am connecting to my Chromebook from my PC, and basically what I'm doing is I am in the process of giving support to my Chromebook from my PC. And you can do this on any computer that's running Chrome. Um, it could be a Chromebook, it could be another Windows PC running Chrome. It can probably be a Linux machine. I haven't tried it with Linux yet, but it probably can. The biggest problem that I'm having with this so far is that if I don't pay attention to it for a long time, the session will time out. Okay, so I have to be careful with that. But I can go down to the menus, and I can click on the menus and they pop up, and I can look at my applications, and I can start applications and things like that. I can go to my files application and it comes up. And that way I'm able to demonstrate things that I have on my system. And I can go to my Google Drive, and I can go to my Google Drive because I'm signed into my account. So if I go to Google Drive, I have all these different files and things that I can get to and stuff like that. So I'm able to do a session on the Chromebook. I'm actually using my Chromebook right now as a regular computer, but I'm also connected to it from a Jitsi session, so I can share what I'm doing with you. Okay, kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I'm not. Okay, so you're on your Windows computer,
I'm on my Windows computer.
and you.
I'm doing a remote session to my Chromebook.
So how did you get
Well,
your?
like I said, I started up Chrome on both computers,
Okay.
and then on my Chromebook, I said, "Give me support." Okay, and then it gave me a number that came up to give me support. On my PC, I went to Chrome Remote Control, and I clicked on that, and I said, "Give support." And it says, "We'll put in the numbers from your device that it says for support." I put those numbers in. I click support or go. On my Chromebook or whatever Chrome application I have open, it says someone wants to give support. You click OK, and all of a sudden you're connected
Wow.
and you're able to do remote support. Now, if you were on your PC or your Chromebook, or like I said before, I believe Linux, and you're running Chrome on there, I can probably do the same thing for any of those systems going through the internet through the Chrome application. There are other applications that we use for remote support and things like that, but this seems to work out for what we're doing right now. Okay, so if I come up here on my Chromebook and I close this window, I click the X, it takes me back to my um, my page here. I was showing Maggie before I can actually run my Chromebook and do searches on the internet while I'm connected. I can pretty much do anything on here. But you see up on top here, it says Chrome Remote Desktop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of, this is how I'm connected between the two computers right here using Chrome Remote Desktop. If I open a new tab here, and then I'm on Google, I could do another search or anything, but I still have Remote Desktop running and it's still available. You probably can't, oh yeah, you can actually see this up on top here where it says Chrome Remote Desktop is active, and that's what's running right now. We'll look at this more in detail. We should probably do a session on Chrome Remote Desktop because I think you'd find that interesting. And what's nice is if you have two computers in your house, you can practice. You can have one sitting, next to you, and one, you can have them both next to you, and you can actually remote control one from the other. So it's kind of a nice feature to have. And of course, it meets our budget. It's free as far as costing you money, but it's not free because it's an investment in knowledge. So you have to spend some time and learn how to do it. So free always has a cost, and the cost is that you have to spend the time to learn how to do it. But we can help you with that. Okay. So
Amazing.
yeah, it's pretty cool, to figure out what you can do on these systems and stuff. And computers are just a tool. We talk about them, and what makes a good carpenter? He knows how to use his tools,
Mm-hmm.
and he has. So it's a matter of practicing. So we're going to go back to a different screen here. I'm going to share a different screen. And I'm not going to stay there too long because if I stay there too long, my remote session will go away. So we'll be popping back there in a little bit. I haven't quite figured out the timing on that yet, but I'll bet it's about 5 to 10 minutes. So we're going to share my other screen over here, and we're going to share this screen over here. And now you see this stuff over here. And we were kind of looking at this the other day. This is just a Word document, as you can see. It's called Chromebook 1. It shows our meeting location. This is where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the session is on Chromebook. And basically, we're going to talk about a few things on here. But first, we're going to talk about the difference in the Chromebook keyboard. Okay. Okay, so I'm getting a little note on my Chromebook saying, do you want to stop sharing or continue? So I have to click continue so I don't lose my session. I guess I can do that while I'm sitting here. So what's different on this keyboard? Well, you still have an escape key. What does escape key usually do on a PC? It takes you back a step, right? Usually takes, if you went forward, it will sometimes take you back a step, but so will this key here. Okay, this takes you, so if you're browsing on the internet, this will take you back a page. If you go to full screen and you hit escape, it will often take you back down to a normal size, restored size screen. So escape takes you like from one event to the previous event. Like if you were on regular size screen and went to full screen, escape will probably take you back to your restored screen size or the smaller screen. This key here, if you're browsing on the internet, it will take you back a screen. This will take you forward a screen. If you already went back once, this will take you back to where you're going. Guess what this little guy does over here? You've seen that before.
Refresh.
Yeah, that's your refresh. And this one here, that puts you on a full screen, or it toggles you from a full screen back to a normal size screen right here. There doesn't show real clear, but they're showing, these are little arrows in the corners here. So if you click on it, it takes you to full screen. Otherwise, it puts you on regular screen. Well, I guess I could demonstrate that, can I? If I come over here and I go back to share my screen and I go back to my Chromebook over here. and I click that button to make it full screen, the one with the arrows in the corners. It goes up to the top. Now notice it fills the whole screen. Now what I'm seeing you're seeing still the title bar on top here. You're still seeing the title bar. On my Chromebook, I don't see that. Okay, on my Chromebook, I see just the whole screen. If I click it again, oops, one more time, it restores it back down to the window that I can actually change the size of this window if I want or not.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that with a full screen. You can only do that I'm just going to call this the restored screen right here. And I'm calling it that because that's what Microsoft calls it. We're just going to kind of stay with a common language here. And most people are familiar with Microsoft, so we'll call this the windowed screen. How about that? We'll call it the windowed screen, all right? That's the windowed screen. All right. So Microsoft can call it the restore. We'll call it windowed screen. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my paper here. So how I do that is I click on Jitsi, I click on the share button, and I click on the click on share, and then I click on the window I want, and I click share. Now, one of the things you have to think about here is if you don't have any other windows open or any other tabs open, and you click on share and you share the same screen you're looking at in Jitsi, you're going to get like 50 windows open in your current browser window, and you're not going to be able to work with it at all. So when you share your screen, you want to share either on another monitor, or you want to share it into another tab. You want to open a new tab and then share that tab. You don't want to share the same tab that has Jitsi up and running in it. Otherwise, you'll get some really weird ghosting of your screen. So it's worth trying. You might want to try that sometime when you open a session all by yourself and click share and see what happens. What I suggest you do if you want to be successful is that you have your Jitsi screen up there, and then you open up a new tab, and then you put something into that tab. It could be just a Google window, or you could have a picture or something. And then when you click on share, you choose that tab that's open, or else you can choose another window. You have some other options. But what I'm saying is don't open your shared window in the same window you have a Jitsi session running. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure what so.
Well, I'm not going to demonstrate for you because I'll break it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I'll break it, but the best thing for you to do, if you want to share and you don't have a second monitor in your Chrome application or whatever you're running Jitsi in, open a new tab. And then when you click on sharing, in fact, you can click on sharing right now, and you'll see, go ahead and click on share. I know we're getting a little away from Chromebook here, but that's okay. So you're clicking on share.
Share.
That's on the lower left-hand corner. It's the middle button. It's between the hand and the chat window. You see that on your Jitsi page? It's in that line that has your hang up and your microphone and your camera.
Screen.
Yeah. So click on share your screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little window pops up, and it says your entire screen, application window, or Chrome tab. Mm-hmm. One moment. Turn that down there. So anyway, if you click on your Jitsi screen and you click share, you're going to we might get kicked off. We may need to log back in again, but we're going to try it anyway. And, well, it's actually, oh, see, we're getting all these different windows opening up and stuff. So we're going to say stop sharing and see if it will get me out of here. Okay. So you see, you don't want to share your Jitsi tab. Otherwise, you get all that strange ghosting. Are you
Well, who do we have?
still there?
The fellow Jitster is the. Do you see that? I see you and me, and I don't see Maggie anymore. But I see fellow Jitster, and it's got.
Yeah. Well, that's probably Maggie, and she'll have to log back in again. Is that you, Maggie?
It shows.
I see. Yeah, I see a tablecloth with some pills on it and stuff like
Mhm,
that.
yeah.
Stuff like that. I don't know if that's Maggie or not.
It says live and SD.
Yeah. So I don't
Fellow
know.
Jitster.
But so who is my fellow Jitster here? I'm not hearing anything, and I don't think it's Maggie. So I'm gonna kick
That's
her.
one that popped up.
So I kicked Maggie out.
Okay.
Okay. All right. She can log back in, and we'll get going again.
Here she
But
is.
so hi Maggie. Was did I?
Hi.
So
It was
I kicked
it
you
was him.
out. Yeah, and
Yeah.
because we were just seeing your desktop for some reason, we were seeing
Yes, you will see my tabletop.
your tabletop. Okay, so I don't know, but you see what happens, and that's why you don't want to share your Jitsi window, because you get all that ghosting. It just repeats the page, repeats the page, repeats the page over and over and over again. So what you want to do is you either want to open a browser on another monitor if you have more monitors, or you want to open another session of Chrome, or it could be any Chrome compatible window, or you can just open a new tab, because when you click on that share your screen across the top, your choices are your entire screen, an application window, or a Chrome tab, and then you can choose the one that you want to do. So let's just cancel. Let's just go into there one more time. Click on the share your screen button. Go ahead and click on that, and you'll see it will show any open tabs that you have, any monitors and things like that. You can choose. If it just has the one where it has screen one, you can, if you click on that, you're going to get all that ghosting again. Okay, let's cancel out of here. I'll see, I got your desktop again, Maggie.
Oh,
And
how interesting. I didn't touch a thing.
yeah, well, see,
Oh,
that's now if you open another tab, go ahead and open a tab so you have more than one tab open in your browser just by clicking that little plus button there.
oh, see, I'm on the iPad
Oh,
today.
okay, so yeah.
It's
All
different.
right, so let's get back to
Yeah.
Chromebooks.
Okay.
All right.
We're
You know, I
So
think you're right, Bruce. I think this is a complete session all its own. So we got So
yeah, so basically I was showing you, yeah, that you
yeah,
can do that, and I got swallowed into your into your nightmare a little bit. So we'll move on.
we
So
see
back,
your fingers, Maggie.
Excuse
yeah.
me?
Now I see your fingers. Yeah. So I don't see you. I just see
Fingers in your
fingers.
desktop.
See, your camera is pointing to your fingers, and I see your desktop now. So I'll let you play around with that while we continue on here. So I'm going to go back and share my screen, which is the keyboard here, and you should see my keyboard pop up. So we have this other button in the middle here, and this is if you have more than one monitor and you want to share a different monitor, or you want to move it from your Chromebook monitor so it shares both windows, the same window, or you can have it show up as a additional window. We're not going to really look at that one right now. To the right, we have the brightness, okay, and the little button makes it less bright, and the other button makes it more bright. The next three buttons are our sound buttons, and this one on the left is a mute, and the one in the middle is to lower your volume, and then the one on the right increases your volume. And then of course most Chromebooks will have an off and on button here. But my Chromebook has a lock here, so I can lock my screen. And then the other buttons are similar to what you'd see on most PCs. You just your Alt Control buttons. You have two of those. You don't notice you don't have a Windows key. and you don't have, if you have used to using a Mac, you don't have a Apple key down here. So other than that, the rest of the keyboard is pretty much the same. Um, you do have a search button though, so you can see on the left side that search button is a quick way to find things. The keyboard shortcut for search is usually F3. You can, if you hit the F3 key, notice there aren't any F keys or function keys on your Chromebook keyboard, so you pretty much have to use what's available on your keyboard here. And things that you would usually find on your function keys would be like refresh or search and things like that. F3 would be search. So anyway, this is the Chromebook keyboard. So I'm going to go ahead.
To have all capital letters, I think, what do you hit the search button and the alt or search and
Right. There are a bunch of different keyboard shortcuts that you can learn. Okay.
how do you get capitals there? Like to
It's
get,
just hold a shift in the letter. So if you're,
but if you want everything you're typing to be capital, block it in.
so what do you do?
I,
So you do this, Tom. You go to your internet browser. Let's go to my Chromebook here,
okay.
and let's go to here, and let's go to the Chromebook, and it's this guy over here. Share. Okay, so now we're on the Chromebook here. So what do? You got Google, and you want to know what to do. You say Chromebook caps lock. So to turn on caps lock, you hold down Alt and the search key.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was something in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had looked that up before, and I couldn't remember what it was, and I just thought I would call that to Maggie's attention.
Right. And then another really good thing to do here, I mean, if you just go on the Chromebook here and you type in Chromebook keyboard shortcuts, you'll get more shortcuts than you want to know about.
Right.
If you click on Master Chrome OS, and let me put this on full screen here, and we're working on the Chromebook right now. Shows us our keyboard, but here we have some specific ones, and there's just all kinds of shortcuts that will do things to your display, your web browser. It just goes on and on and on. There are hundreds of them. You can actually purchase an overlay if you wanted to, but you don't need to. There's all kinds of cheat sheets and stuff you can get. Here's 7 useful Chromebook tricks, 47 keyboard shortcuts that work in all web browsers. So you can just click on any one of those links, and that will take you to your, I'll give you more information than you need to know. You know what one of the hardest things for me to figure out when I first got my Chromebook was?
Tell me.
How to turn it on. Okay. Because, like I told you, my Chromebook on my upper right-hand corner of my keyboard doesn't have that symbol for on and off. So on the right side of my keyboard, right next to one of the USB ports, there's this little area that you can press on, and that's my on and off button.
Wow.
But one thing nice about the Acer Chromebook is once you close it and then reopen the lid, it will start up automatically. So whenever you open the lid, it starts automatically. So that's another way to start. And it probably works for your Chromebook as well. Even if it goes to sleep or it shuts down, if you open up the keyboard, you continue right where you left off, which is another really interesting point about Chromebooks. What do you do when you want your Chromebook to go to sleep? And what do we mean by going to sleep? Going to sleep usually means you're logged in and you're doing something on your Chromebook, but you go away for a little while. You go away for an hour to 2 hours or 2 days or whatever. But when you come back, you want it to start up again, and you don't want to have to log back in again. So what you do is you just close the lid. And then the next time you open the lid, it will um, open up right to the page you're working in automatically. The problem with putting it to sleep, that putting it to sleep still uses power. So if you're off the charger and you let it sit there for 3-4 days, you might find that you've drained your battery out all the way down. Okay. Whereas if you turn your Chromebook off, if you sign out and turn your Chromebook off, you can leave it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and you'll still have power in your Chromebook.
That's
But
true.
if you just put it to sleep, it continues to use power. Now, in Windows, you can manually put it to sleep by clicking on, in Windows, if you come down to the bottom here, and let's get rid of this thing here. If you come down to the bottom, there's usually like a pop-up that comes up, and one says power, and then it says sleep and things like that. You'll notice that's not over here on a Chromebook. If you come over to the right side over here on the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
you can either sign out or you can shut down your Chromebook from here. And you can lock it, but there's no way to put it to sleep. So how do you put a Chromebook to sleep if you want to keep your screen open? Do you have any idea, Tom, how you would do that?
Just close the lid.
No, you can do that, or you can just walk away.
Mm-hmm.
If you close the lid, it will put it to sleep immediately. If you don't do anything, it goes to sleep on its own. If you're not doing any activity on your Chromebook, it will eventually go to sleep on its own. Okay, so that's one of the things that's different between like a Mac and a PC and a Chromebook. Is on a Mac and a PC, you can tell it how many minutes you want before it goes to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on a Chromebook, that's not something you can set. It will go to sleep on its own, but you don't have control over that, and unless you want to dig really deep into it. I'm sure there's some way you can control that, but it's not something that a beginner or intermediate would be aware of. It's not something that you have as an option. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that sometimes I would I frequently would leave mine plugged in to my battery,
Right.
and so I decided just to take off the electricity. So I unplugged it and I closed it, and it was like a week went by.
Right.
It still had power, you know.
Because, yeah. Was it logged in?
No, it was asleep.
Well,
I was that
so there's two different, we're talking about two different things here, Tom. So
okay.
let me cancel this and go back to my camera here.
Anyway, the battery lasts for a long time on this one, you know.
So here I am over. Well, so if I'm on my Chromebook, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't signed in yet,
Okay.
and you put it to sleep by closing the lid or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it will not use any power at all.
Wow.
Okay. If you are logged into your Chromebook, let's see, it has Tom Lemire,
Yeah.
and then you signed in with your top secret password,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you're logged into your profile, your Gmail profile,
Mm-hmm.
and you close the lid, it will continue to use power. But it will last however strong your battery is. And I know that your Chromebook is larger than my Chromebook. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is bigger than mine. But anyway, your Chromebook has a bigger battery, so it's going to last longer than mine. I think my Chromebook it's an R11, so it has 11 inches diagonal. width. I think yours is 14.
I think.
So so it has more room for a larger battery. So it's going to
Mhm.
have more battery capacity, so it will last longer.
Hmm.
And the healthier the battery is, the longer it will last. You
Mm.
know, how you've been charging it and cycling your battery and things like that.
Mhm.
So, um, yeah, but you can go a long time, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the worst thing that's going to happen is your Chromebook is going to turn off
Yeah.
because when it gets down to like 1% battery, in order to save itself, it's just going to turn off.
Okay.
But when you turn it back on again, it will say, plug me back in.
Yeah. Right.
And then it will take a little time to charge up.
Well, let me ask you this, Bruce. Are you like if you don't sign out, you don't turn it off, and you don't do that, are you vulnerable to? And I know that you said that these are pretty secure as far as viruses and hacking and stuff are concerned, but when you leave it on like that, say I leave it on for 3 days,
Right.
does it need to reset itself or?
No, if you have it plugged in,
Uh-huh,
okay, and you have it and you leave it on
uh-huh,
and don't do anything to it. Remember, I told you after about 15 minutes, it's going to go to sleep on its own.
right.
And when it's asleep on its own, you physically have to wake it up.
Okay. And
Okay,
nobody else can get into it or
correct.
look at it or anything like
And
that.
that's probably a pretty good security feature.
Uh-huh.
So, like I said, if you leave it on and walk away, it is going to put itself to sleep. And until you wake it back up again,
Hmm.
it's, and the vulnerability is basically, it's going to be just as vulnerable as your Chrome account is. Okay. If you're logged into your account, well, it's possible that there could be some vulnerability there, but chances are not, because most people are not attacking Chromebooks,
Yeah, right.
and they are a Linux operating system, so they have quite a few additional safeguards to them compared to a Windows computer, which is almost always under attack,
Yeah.
because people like Bill Gates may be a nice guy now, but he wasn't always a real nice guy.
Uh-huh.
So he had a lot of enemies, and there are people who um, don't care for him, and then they basically he became a target, and
Yeah.
therefore everyone who has a Windows computer, and for other reasons as well, became targets, and that's why a lot of Windows computers get attacked and stuff. That's why you need antivirus on a Windows computer if you're going to the internet, or sometimes this malware or viruses are built right into applications, either intentionally or unintentionally, that you would install on your computer.
Hmm.
So you need antivirus no matter what, and anti-malware helps a lot if you're uh, going to the internet. So the Chromebook is probably one of the safest devices you can use as far as a consumer is concerned. And let me share my screen again over here. And let's move this picture out of the way here. So the pros of a Chromebook is it's relatively inexpensive to get started. It wasn't too long ago, Tom and Maggie, when we were saying that, are we ever going to see a laptop under $1,000?
Hmm. That's true.
Well, so here we are. I paid $249 for my Chromebook. Maggie saw $299, and that's the regular price at Costco, and not even for sale. But there is a caveat, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Um, the Chromebook has many additional features that you can add programs to it and things like that. There are lots of free and some paid programs that are really good programs. You're not going to put Photoshop on here, okay, because it doesn't have the horsepower. But there are other video and picture editing programs that work just fine on a Chromebook.
Well, like Picasa. Could you put Picasa on here?
I'd have to look
Okay.
if it works with Chrome. Uh, as an extension. It would work in a Chromebook.
Okay.
Um, we can. I don't, we'll have to look up that one
Sure.
separately. Okay, because you can connect with the Chromebook, you can connect to the Chrome store, and there are lots of free and paid programs there. So if Picasa is one of those programs, you can do that. But there are other programs out there that are just as good or better than Picasa. Okay.
Yeah.
So all the positive things about having a Chromebook account you get with a Chromebook. With a Gmail account, you get a YouTube calendar. You can have two-factor authentication. It integrates with other devices like Android devices. It's very portable. But then again, the cons are all the negative things about having a Google account, and we kind of beat this to death in the Outlaws meetings because we're saying privacy is a big problem with Chrome. Um, Google, they're collecting information. They're using it for advertising, stuff like that. So also, it doesn't really have enough power to be a world-class gamer. You can play games on it. If you're playing solitaire, there's no problem at all, or cribbage or chess or something. Those aren't high-powered games. But if you're playing a lot of action games, the Chromebook just isn't going to make it. It's just not powerful enough. And then the big thing is you need to be aware when your Chromebook support expires. So this is a problem we run into with other people in the club and stuff like that. Well, here's a Chromebook for $2.99 at Costco, but I was at Goodwill the other day and I found one for $10. So here I am. I bought one for $10, and that Chromebook is obsolete. Okay, it won't run the latest programs. The $10 Chromebook, it won't run the latest programs, and you can't update it to the latest security versions of Chrome that come out all the time. Your Chromebook is constantly being updated with new security features in the background. In order to enable those security features, what do you need to do, Tom?
I just update.
No, well, that's a good idea. But what you need to do is occasionally you need to actually turn your Chromebook off
Oh, okay, yeah.
and then turn it back on again. And when you turn it back on again, all the features that have been building up in the background will get installed onto your Chromebook. So you need to turn it off occasionally too. And I've actually suggested for people to buy Chromebooks like at the senior center and stuff, and they'll go out and buy it. And then 6 months later, they'll come back and say, well, my Chromebook is acting weird and, whatever. And I said, well, when's the last time you turned it off? I said, well, yeah, I close the lid all the time. Well, what happens when you close the lid?
It just goes to sleep.
Exactly. And when it goes to sleep, is it being updated?
No.
No, because you actually have to physically turn it off all the way down and then turn it back on again. So when you turn it off and the reason you have to turn it off and turn it back on again is because the old programs and operating systems stay resident in memory, and you can't do most updates while things are running or running in memory. When you turn your computer off, it basically allows it to clear that memory completely, and when you turn it back on again, it makes the updates, and then it fills your memory with all the new updates and things like that, so you get a brand with the updates. Now, one of the things you can also do on a Chromebook is, let me go over to my Chromebook here. And that's this guy over here now, and share. So can you see my Chromebook now? That's this guy over here. I'm going to go down to the bottom here, and I'm going to click on settings. And way at the bottom of settings, last thing there underneath advanced, is You can do something called a power wash. You see the power wash right here?
Huh.
And what the power wash does is it resets your Chromebook to factory settings, okay, and gives you a brand new fresh start completely. And then it will update it to the latest version of the Chrome operating system. But if everything fails on a Chromebook or it just doesn't work or do anything, you do a power wash, and the power wash sets it back to the default settings, which means it has no accounts on it. Okay, so you do a power wash. You can take between 5 and 15 minutes. You come back up again, you turn your Chromebook on, and you sign in with your Gmail account, and all the stuff that was there in your Gmail account will come back to your Chromebook. So all of your programs and things that you have already loaded from the Play Store and stuff like that, they'll all come right back to your computer because they're not kept on your Chromebook. And we talked a little bit about this last week. They're kept where?
In the cloud.
Yeah, under your profile. And your profile is your Gmail account.
Well,
So
does it eliminate your files and folders and
only the ones that you, and we talked about this as well, it will only eliminate those that you have under files. Remember, we talked about under files, it will only eliminate the ones that you have in downloads.
okay,
So if I did a power wash on my computer right now, all of my files in the cloud will still be there
okay,
because they're on Google Drive. Okay.
in the
But
cloud instead of on your computer.
so these are everything on Google Drive is in the cloud. Now
Yeah.
it can be synced to my iPad it can be synced to my Chromebook, but they'll still have a copy in the cloud. But anything on downloads, like George Benson right here, 2020, is a album, so it has songs and things in it.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you can hear that or not, but anyway. But this will be gone because this is kept in a folder on my Chromebook. All right.
Uh-huh.
Now, if I had this on a thumb drive, can I put it back on my Chromebook?
Sure.
Yeah. So if you are going to do a refresh of your computer completely, just make sure you have a copy of the stuff you want to keep on a thumb drive or something, and you can just load it right back on again.
Mm-hmm.
Is that helpful to know?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let's leave my Chromebook a second and go back to my sheet of paper over here. Okay, let's share. Share over here.
Maggie, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. I just decided you didn't want to look at my tablecloth.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. You didn't want to see me. You wanted to see this other page over here. Are you getting anything helpful from this, Maggie? I hope you are.
Yes, it's a great intro to the pros and cons of
And
an investment.
and a lot of these things also work on this. A lot of the stuff that you're learning is also transferable to a PC. You
Mhm.
know, to help you understand what's going on there. So what I was talking about, the reason you don't want to buy a really cheap used Chromebook is because the Chromebook will expire after a while, and you won't be able to load the newest stuff on there. There's a limited lifetime to a Chromebook. It's called a life cycle, and the life cycle is a little bit shorter than some of the more powerful operating systems like Windows 10 or Mac OS. Yes, sir.
What happens when it expires? I mean, what expires?
Support expires. What that basically means, after a certain date, you're no longer going to be able to get updated security and updated stuff like updated versions of the operating system. But your Chromebook will still work just fine for browsing the internet and things like that with this current configuration. It just will not be updated. But we're talking about it's supposed to be good for about 7 years. Okay. But
Mhm.
some people have keep their computers for 10, 12, 15 years. And I just noticed that Google on their Chromebooks, they have they have like the Pixel book and things like that, that they just extended their support on those devices for an additional 2 years. So it's up to the manufacturers to say how long they want to keep up their support. So if you buy a Chromebook from HP or a Chromebook from Acer or a Chromebook from Google, like a Pixel book, they're all going to have different um, support lengths of time. So you might want to check that out. But like I said, they can be extended by the manufacturer, and they often will be extended. But it's something you need to be aware of, especially if you go out and go to Goodwill and buy a cheap Chromebook for $10. Just know that chances are it's not going to give you 10 years of updated service. You're going to lose support if it hasn't lost support already for newer updates and things like that. So if you want to, unless you're buying something new like at Costco, or Walmart or online or something, if you're buying it new, you don't have to worry about it. If you're buying a used machine, you want to go and online and check the model and the end of life, end of support. End of life is basically end of support um, on on that particular device to make sure that you have plenty of time left to receive updates.
Hmm.
It's just a way of protecting yourself and protecting your investment. If you have $10 to throw away and you just want to play with it, fine. Because you can actually load Linux on a Chromebook and use it as a Linux machine as well, just like you can on a Windows machine. So if you want to turn your Chromebook into a Linux machine, well, then you can get another 10 years of service out of it. So unfortunately, you don't get the nice. You get Linux, but you don't get the nice. What is it? Nice big GUIs and things like that you get with some of the Linux Mint and things like that. You don't get some of the real nice GUIs and things because it really doesn't have the horsepower for that. You get more of the command line Linux
Mhm.
stuff. So, but anyway, so my suggestion is if you're going to buy a Chromebook, bite the bullet and get a new one. Okay, like you did, and like Maggie said, they have them at Costco. And one of the things Steve said at the meeting yesterday, uh, was it Steve? No, who comes in from Port Townsend? Al. What Al said yesterday, he's finding out that HP is really good about having good support if you need it. So you want to make sure you're dealing with a well-known company unless you want to take the chance on not getting very good support. But remember, you have the internet to help you find stuff and get support as well. So you don't always have to go to the manufacturers and things like that. So I also have this other thing, this other page here that I want to talk about real briefly. So what do you need a computer for anywhere? Anyway, so you want to do email. These are all things you can do on a Chromebook. Okay, you have email, instant messaging, and this is kind of an example of what you can have in there. You can have other things as well. You can do web browsing, you can do web commerce, you can do web conferences. Like I could be doing this conference on my Chromebook rather than from my PC, and it has an internal camera. It's just not as high a resolution. You can pay, if you pay more for a Chromebook, you're going to get better components. If you pay less, you're going to get good components, but they're not going to be top of the line. It has internal storage. Most internal storage in a Chromebook are an SSD. They're not the top of the line fastest ones, but they're a heck of a lot faster than the mechanical drives that we used to get. You can still buy in computers. You get free cloud storage. You can play simple games, limited action games. You can do word processing. You can use cast to your TV using Chromecast and other devices. Um, You can put antivirus on there, although you don't really need it as much. My Chromebook does not have antivirus or malware on it. Okay, you can easily do it doesn't have either. My Chromebook does not have antivirus or malware software. I don't feel like I need it. I can put it on, but I don't feel I need it. I can do ad blocking in Chrome just like on a PC or a Mac. I can go to YouTube. I can work with documents online or offline, word processing, spreadsheets, presentations. I can do file management with the Files program. I can take photos. I can manage photos. I can do photo editing. And there's just a whole bunch of other stuff I can add to this list, but this is a start. So as you can see, a Chromebook for a lot of people can be their only computer that they need. I need to end this session because I need to get ready to go here. But I hope it's been helpful, and I want to ask you, would you like to continue with this next week?
If you want to, sure. I mean, I'm all for it. I mean,
Let's
I
do
learn
it.
all the time.
Let's do it one more time, and then we'll change the subject and go look at some different operating systems like Linux or something else, and then we can always come back and do more of this in the future, because what I'm trying to show you is once you understand one of them, it's not hard to understand all of them.
Let me ask this, Bruce. Are there some tutorials that I mean? I know you can go to YouTube, but I think right on. Um I found all sorts of places on the Chromebook,
Right.
all sorts of tutorials, and sometimes I can't find them. I can't remember where the hell they were.
Yeah. Well, let me see if I can. Um, on the Chromebook itself.
The other thing I wanted to mention, and this is for you or Maggie or whomever. If you don't, you probably already know it. But if you buy something at Costco,
Oops.
and then a week later or 2 weeks later it goes on sale, you can take your receipt in, and they'll give you the difference.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's good
Yeah.
to know. Yeah. Also, for most of these devices, you get to use them for 30 days and you can return them.
90, I think
Is it 90 days? Yeah.
I think
So
it's not.
it's kind of a nice feature.
Yeah.
So I got to go, and
Okay, thank you.
we'll I'll make this available for public viewing. Um, as soon as I get around to it. Like I was telling Maggie, my excitement kind of gets I get excited and then my excitement wanes, so
Yeah.
we'll take care of it as we can. But I think we're
I know you got to go, but that was another question that I would like to explore sometime. Because when I was going to try to record a Jitsi session,
hmm
came up and it went to Dropbox,
right,
and I don't have Dropbox,
right.
so
Yeah.
I get it to YouTube.
So we're using YouTube, and I'm going to stop the live stream right now.
Okay,
I'm going to go over here. Oh, actually, I'm going to go to YouTube first, and I'm going to stop the live stream there. I'm going to end my stream, end it.